Bonjour and good afternoon. Welcome to WASA Distance Education and PLAR English. And this is our second class this week. Our class yesterday was canceled because I was traveling. So this is our makeup class today. So next week our classes will be on schedule Monday and Wednesday. So, just a couple of reminders. Two ways to participate in classes. So you can call in to the radio using our toll-free number for long distance or our local number, and you'll get the audio for the classes, or you can use Zoom and then you will get an audio and video for the classes. So to use Zoom, the instructions are in your study guide, or you can contact your DEC or me for help with that. Just a reminder as well that all PLAR English students are welcome to attend classes. So it doesn't matter if you signed up for radio Zoom classes or IL for PLAR, you can still attend the classes because the material for the IL and for the radio are exactly the same. So you get the same material no matter which you sign up for. So we will be covering the same material in classes. To contact me, you can use email, phone, or send a message on Facebook. All of my contact information is on the cover page of the study guide as well as every lesson. So you should have no trouble finding my contact information. Any student who is working on the PLAR over the summer or from term 2B last year can keep working on the key questions or the culminating activity and continue to submit them for marking. Just make sure that you have signed up for this school year. You sign up once and then you're in for the rest of the year, but you have to sign up once during the school year. To make sure that you are registered. So if you're registered, then you can continue to submit your work. Also, the recorded classes from last year are still available on the WASA YouTube channel, and the new classes are being uploaded as well. So if you're, for example, working on the math and right now we're not doing PLAR math classes, you can go to the WASA Distance Education Center YouTube channel, and once you get there, make sure you click on playlists, and then you will see the playlists for the PLAR Science, the PLAR Math, PLAR English, PLAR History, and PLAR Geography. They're all there. So the English is from, well, they're all from last year, but the English and the History and Geography are being updated as we do new classes. So make sure, like I said, when you go there, click playlists. Otherwise, you just get a random selection of classes. Just a reminder that all PLAR students have the option of writing the culminating activity instead of doing the lessons or key questions, even if you have completed and submitted some of the key questions already. So if you started working on it and you go, yeah, this is pretty easy, I think I can probably do the test, then let us know and we will send you the test. Then if you pass the test or the culminating activity, you get your missing credits and you don't have to finish the lessons and key questions. You can move on to your next subject. If you're not successful with the culminating activity, then you will have to go through the lessons and complete the key questions, and then you can write another culminating activity after that work, the lesson work is finished. Okay, also there are prizes for doing WASA courses. So at the end of every term, WASA has 2 student draws, one for students who earned a credit during the term and one for students who submit work. So if you submit your work, if you do all 5 PLAR lessons and submit them, then your name gets entered into the draw 5 times. If you finish the subject that you're working on, you write the culminating activity and you're successful with it, then you will get your name entered into the credit draw as well. And this year, in addition to those regular draws, we will have a third draw for students who register before September 30th. Okay, so make sure you're registered, make sure you're submitting your work. Okay, if you do, as I mentioned, you can choose to do the culminating activity, or you can choose to do the lessons. So if you choose to do the lessons, so maybe you've been out of school for a number of years and you don't feel confident enough with your skills or your abilities to write the test right away, you can choose to do the lessons and key questions. In the package that you receive, as you're going through it, you will notice that there are two types of questions. There are support questions and there are key questions. The support questions are the practice questions that you do on your own, and then you check the answers, your answers, against the answers to support questions that are located at the end of the lesson right before the key questions. The key questions are the assignments. Those are the questions that you submit to me for marking. Okay, so don't submit the support questions, submit the key questions. As you're doing the support questions, as I said, check your answers at the end of the lesson. Make sure that you're doing okay. If you're doing well with the support questions, then you can move on to the key questions. The key questions are the ones that have marks beside them. Those are the ones that you submit. To submit your work, the first way is to give it to your DEC, and then your DEC will send it out to us here in Sioux Lookout. If your DEC is away or you don't have a learning center or DEC in your community, you can still do your work and you can submit your own work. So if you're submitting your own work, make sure you write your name on your work. So make sure your full name, the name that you registered with, is on your work, because sometimes people use different names. Well, we need the name that you registered with, so make sure it's on your work. Also, you should initial every page of your work. That way, if it comes in and gets mixed up with somebody else's work, we can sort it out pretty easily. And if you get your name on it, we know who it came from. If you don't have your name on it, we have no idea who submitted it. Okay, so if you are submitting your own work, make sure your name is on it. To submit your own work, one way is to scan and email your work to studentwork@nnec.on.ca, and make sure you CC it to me so that there's a second copy coming out to us in case one copy gets lost or you have the wrong email address or something like that. Okay, or you can fax your work to our toll-free fax number if you have access to a fax machine. If that doesn't work for you, then you can use your smartphone. With your smartphone, you can either take photos of your work or scan your work using a built-in scanner, and then you can either email it to that same student work email address and CC it to me, or you can send it using Facebook Messenger. Okay, whatever works better for you. If you live in Sioux Lookout or the surrounding area and you come to Sioux Lookout fairly often, you can use our outdoor mailbox, which is located at the side of the WASA building in the parking lot. Or you can knock on the front door or use our newly installed doorbell. The front door is on Front Street, and then you can give your work to the person who answers the door. If you want to meet with your teacher, if you have questions, you can use that front door as well. The other option for submitting your work is to use Google Docs. So you can use Google Docs to complete your work, write your answers, and then send me a link to that document. And again, make sure that that is a shareable link. So make sure that I have access to it. All right. That's it for the announcements. So a review of what we did in our class on Monday. So we finished the parts of speech already, and now we're moving on, and then we moved on to capitalization and punctuation. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the term, we are starting with the basics of the English language. So parts of speech, capitalization and punctuation, and then after that we're going to get into some sentences. So capitalization. When you are writing, you need to use capitalization properly. Please do not write with using all capital letters. So every word in the sentence is capitalized. That's incorrect. That's not the way we do it. We capitalize the first letter of a word only. So capitalize the first word of every sentence and every new line. So for example, I got up early. First word in the sentence, I, needs to be capitalized. Next sentence, then I went to school. The first letter of the first word in that sentence also needs to be capitalized. Capitalize the first word of quoted sentences. he said to her, "You betray my trust." So a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, and then a capital letter at the beginning of what he said. His sentence was, "You betray my trust." Put a capital letter there. Next one, capitalize the names of people. So names of people are proper nouns. So every person's name, every pet's name has to have a capital letter. So Mary, John, Sam, Susan, etc. Next, capitalize the name of streets, cities, provinces, states, and countries. So something like Washington Street, United States. So if the name of the street is Washington Street, the street also has a capital letter. Number 6, capitalize the place or specific location. So I love studying English and history. So I needs a capital because at the beginning of the sentence. English is the language. So capital E for English. Number 4, capitalize words derived from proper nouns. I am headed to the south this summer. So capital I for the beginning of the sentence. The south is a specific area. So if it's a specific area, specific location, then it needs to capital S. If you're talking about direction, I am driving south, and it's just a direction, you don't need a capital letter. Number 7, capitalize the names of books, movies, arts, articles, etc. So 100 Years of Solitude is the name of a book. So capital the number 1, the O for 1, the H for 100, capital Y for years, and capital S for solitude. The preposition of does not need a capital letter. Okay, so articles, prepositions, conjunctions, those words do not need capital letters. The Return of Superman, the gets capital letter simply because it's at the beginning of the title. Return, capital R, of again, no capital O, Superman, capital S. Number 8, capitalize the pronoun I. My friend and I go to school together. So my needs a capital letter because it's the first word in the sentence. And I, when you're referring to yourself, using the pronoun I, then that's always a capital letter. So in number 6, we started with I love studying. It's 2 reasons for it being capitalized there. One, because it's the beginning of sentence, and the other is because it's the pronoun I. Same thing in number 4. I am headed to the south this summer. Capital letter for I. Number 9, capitalize an interjection, an exclamation. So something like, oh, you need a capital O. Look, surprise, whoa. Because they're kind of like mini sentences, they need to have capital letters at the beginning. And finally, number 10, capitalize opening and closing of a letter. So when you're writing to someone, Dear Mary, of course, the person's name needs to be capitalized because it's a proper noun, but the first word, dear, also needs to be capitalized. And then the closing, if you're saying cheers, sincerely, yours truly, whatever, needs capital letters. Okay, so those are the places we use capital letters. If it's not in the list, then don't capitalize it. Okay, next, punctuation marks. So as I said on Monday, punctuation and capitalization go hand in hand. Okay, they help each other and they work together. So there are a lot of different types of punctuation marks, but we don't use all of them. There are some that are very common. So the first one is the full stop or a period. It shows the end of a sentence. So put a period at the end of the sentence. When you finish saying something, put a period. A question mark is next. A question mark shows that a question is being asked. It goes at the end of a question. A comma joins 2 or more ideas in a sentence or separates items in a series. So I went to the store, comma, but it was closed. Okay, or at the store I bought apples, comma, bananas, comma, peaches, comma, milk, comma, and chicken. So commas if you're listing listing a bunch of items. The exclamation mark shows strong emphasis or strong emotion. So you only use an exclamation mark if you're yelling something, like if you want if you're writing something that would be normally yelled, if you were saying it, then you would put an exclamation mark at the end. Or of course for a interjection, you need an exclamation mark because it shows strong emotion. Quotation marks, not used very often. They show that words have been directly quoted. So that means that you are writing the exact words that somebody said. That's when you use quotation marks. A colon introduces the information that comes after it. So if you're writing a list for your camping trip, you need to take colon, and then you write a list of the things that you need to take. Or if you want something to stand out. So the only person who can help you is colon you. Something like that. Semicolon, it's a period on the top and a comma on the bottom, connects two complete sentences that are related. So they have to be related. They have to be about the same thing. So if you're saying, my mother is a lawyer, semicolon, my father is a doctor. Okay, they're related sentences. They're about my parents. An apostrophe is used to show possession or for contraction of words. So when we say possession, we mean ownership. So if we were going to say Sheila's dog. Okay, we put an apostrophe there before the S because that apostrophe shows us that dog belongs to Sheila. Okay, it shows possession or it shows ownership of the dog. Or we use it for a contraction. So for example, don't, D-O-N apostrophe T. The apostrophe there replaces the missing letter. So in this case, the O. So whenever you put an S on the end of a word, don't always put in a apostrophe. So if you're saying that there's 4 dogs outside, it's just 4 dogs with an S, no apostrophe. If you got chased by 3 dragons, it's just an S, no apostrophe. If you wanted to say the dog's fur is dirty, then you would use an apostrophe because the fur, the apostrophe is showing that the fur belongs to the dog. It's showing ownership. Okay, so that's when you use an apostrophe. Otherwise, it's just plural. Okay, an hyphen, not used very often except for compound words. So, for example, sister, I hyphen in hyphen law. Okay, we use hyphens for some compound words, not for all of them. Then we have a slash, which is used to separate letters, numbers, or words. So, for example, kilometers per hour. An ellipsis, again not used very often, shows that something has been removed from the sentence. So if you're retelling something, so the dog, oops, that's not an O. Okay, the dog lost, and then you don't want to say all of it, then came home. So something, these ellipses here, these 3 dots tells us that something is missing from the story, but is not important, so we don't need to put it in there at this point. And then we have parentheses or brackets are used to add extra information in a sentence. So all of this is in your lesson, so if you can't remember it, you're not sure, make sure you go back to your lesson and check it out. Okay, so we have done nouns and pronouns, verbs, all the other parts of speech, capitals and punctuations. So today we're going to look at types of sentences and combining sentences. So in your lesson, on page 30 is some information about what a sentence is. So read through that. It also talks about the 4 different types of sentences. So read through that so you understand what the 4 different types are. And then support question number 13 then talks about sentence structure, how to make sentences and the different types of sentences. And then support question 14, again, make sure you do the support questions. And then on the next page, making clear sentences. So making sure that your sentences can be clearly understood. On page 34, continuing on with clear sentences, and then support question 15 is on the next page as well. All right, so what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words giving a complete thought. So what we mean by complete thought is that there's no question as to what is being said. It's been said or it's been written and it makes sense. You understand it. A sentence must contain a subject and a verb. So back when we talked about the different parts of speech, I said that nouns and pronouns are subjects. Okay, in a sentence, the nouns and the pronouns are the subjects. And of course, you know what a verb is. So for example, my dog loves to chase her tail. So what is the sentence about? The sentence is about my dog. So pronoun with a noun this time. And what does the dog what does the dog do? Loves to chase her tail. So we have a subject, which is my dog, and we have the predicate, which is the verb and everything that comes after it. Okay, in the next sentence, go to your room. So in this case, we don't see a subject there. It doesn't say who to go to your room, go to their room, but we know that they're talking about you. So we don't say you, we understand that it's there. So this is the subject, it's an understood subject, and go to your room is the verb plus everything else in the sentence which makes up the predicate. Okay. A more formal definition of a sentence, so if you want to look it up in a dictionary, you're going to find something like this. A sentence is a set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and a predicate, conveying a statement, question, exclamation, or command, and consisting of a main clause and sometimes one or more subordinate clauses. So that's the definition of a sentence from the Oxford Dictionary. Okay, so there are 4 types of sentences. The first is a declarative sentence, and a declarative sentence states a fact and it ends with a period. So it just makes a statement. I am going home at 3 o'clock. Period. So it's just saying something, just making a statement. It's a fact that I'm going home at 3 o'clock. Okay. It has a subject, I, and it has the verb, am going, and the rest of it home at 3 o'clock. So it has a subject and it has a predicate. An imperative sentence is a command or a polite request. Basically, the imperative sentence tells you to do something. It ends with an exclamation mark or a period, depending on how much force or how much strength you're putting into your sentence. So an imperative sentence, command or so go make your bed. Now, you could say that, go make your bed, just say it, or you could say, go make your bed, and with an exclamation mark, showing stronger emotion. So it depends on how much intensity you want to put into it. That would help determine if you want to use a period at the end or if you want to use an exclamation mark. It doesn't always have an exclamation mark. So the subject, again, is understood to be you. It's not there. It's understood to be you. And then the verb, go, and the rest of the sentence, make your bed. So subject and predicate. In an imperative sentence, like an order or an interrogative sentence, sometimes a question, the subject or verb is often employed. So it's implied. So it's not always there. So run, where it's understood that somebody's telling you to run. Same thing for go, you go, and why. There's no predicate in there, but it is a sentence. Okay, an interrogative sentence asks a question. and ends with a question mark. So kind of like why. So interrogative asks the questions. Did you make your bed? Question mark. Because I'm asking something. And then an exclamatory sentence expresses excitement or emotion. It ends with an exclamation mark. So an exclamatory sentence, unlike an interjection, an imperative sentence, an exclamatory sentence does end with always with an exclamation mark. So you might say, I saw a huge wolf crossing the river this morning. Okay, so this is showing, you're not just saying, I saw a huge wolf crossing the river this morning. So you're saying, I saw a huge wolf crossing the river this morning. Doesn't mean you're yelling it, but it just means that you're putting a lot of feeling into it. Okay, so those are the 4 types of sentences. So now, let's do some practice identifying sentence types. So what I want you to do, what we're going to do here is we're going to say what type of sentence each is. Declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory, and then we're going to put the correct punctuation at the end. So number 1, pick up some more milk when you pass by the supermarket. Okay, so pick up some more milk when you pass by the supermarket. Well, you're telling somebody to do something, pick up some more milk. So that would be an imperative. Doesn't mean again that you're yelling at them. You don't have to be yelling at them, but you are giving a command. And because you probably wouldn't yell this, we're putting a period at the end. So this would be a polite request. Number 2, just try and figure out what the new password is. Okay, so again, you're telling somebody to do something here. So just try and figure out what the new password is. So you could use a period, or in this case, you might be, frustrated or exasperated, and you're just saying, oh, just try and figure out what the new password is. And so then, in that case, you would use an exclamation mark. And it is another imperative sentence. And then number 3, take a good look at this financial chart. So again, you're telling somebody to do something. Take a good look at this financial chart. But you're probably not yelling it, so it'll be a period, and again, it's an imperative sentence. Number 5, I am sick and tired of this rainy weather. So now in this case, you would again be feeling frustrated, fed up, that type of thing. So making a statement, I am sick and tired of this rainy weather. So it could be an exclamation, or if you're just saying, oh, I'm sick and tired of this rainy weather, you might just want to put a period there. So it could be an exclamatory sentence, depending on how you say it, or it could just be a declarative sentence. Again, depending on how much emotion you put into it when you're saying it. Okay, number 6, go get another paper towel from the kitchen. So here you're telling somebody to do something, and you're probably not yelling at them unless something, a water pipe broke and there's water going everywhere, and then you would probably yell at them, but you probably wouldn't be telling them to get a paper towel. So this is probably ending with a period, and it's an imperative statement. Number 7, this closet is where we keep the spare batteries. So you're not telling anybody to do anything, you're not asking anything, you're just stating a fact. So ends with a period and is a declarative sentence. Number 8, this phone bill is highway robbery. So now this one, your phone bill, highway robbery, obviously you're frustrated, your phone bill is high. So this could be an exclamatory, because you're probably feeling quite a bit of emotion when you see your phone bill. Number 9, may I have a clean plate? So now you're asking for something. So this, you're going to end with a question mark, and it's an interrogative. An interrogative sentence. Number 10. Did the door lock behind you? So now you want to find out something. So this is a question. Again, it's an interrogative. Sentence. Number 11. There's no way I'm going to get you let you get a tattoo. Okay, so now this probably said with a lot of expression and a lot of emotion. There is no way. So an exclamatory sentence. Number 12, what was in the box that was left outside? Okay, kind of like the question I had for my husband a couple of days ago. What was in the box that was left outside? You're asking something, so it's an interrogative. Sentence. Number 13, you can find more paper towels in the cabinet under the sink. So you're not telling somebody to get the paper towels, you're telling them where to find them. So you're stating a fact, ends with a period, and it's a declarative sentence. Number 14, did you enjoy the lasagna I cooked for you? So you're asking a question, need to end with a question mark. It's an interrogative. And then number 15, my iPod was here just a minute ago, and now it's gone. So your iPod is gone. You know, chances are you're very upset, so an exclamatory sentence. Okay, so those are the different types of sentences. Some of them are a bit tricky. You need to read them carefully. Read the examples carefully. Okay, a complete sentence. So we talked a bit about a complete sentence. We said that to be a complete thought or complete sentence, it needs a subject and a verb, or predicate. So the subject is the noun or the pronoun. So the who, or could be a what the sentence is about, and the predicate or a verb. So what the subject is doing. So the subject refers to the part of the sentence that tells who or what the sentence is about. The subject is either a noun, pronoun, or a noun phrase. So for example, Kelly walked down the street. Who walked down the street? Kelly did. It's just a noun. They went to school. They went to school. So who went to school? They did. They is a pronoun. Excuse me, the black cat slept all day. Who or what slept all day? The black cat. That's a noun phrase because there's more than one word. There are a few different types of subjects. A simple subject is just one word, like Kelly, for Kelly walked down the street, without any modifiers, and it's usually a noun or a pronoun. A complete subject is the simple subject plus all modifiers. So for the black cat, cat is the simple subject, and then the words the black are the modifiers. They make it a complete subject. And a compound subject is made up of more than one subject element. So here, we've got a simple subject, Kate is a nice girl. The complete subject, Jeffrey's poem about his mother. And a compound subject, Paul and Tommy. Okay, more than one person. The subject comes before the verb in each sentence. So Kate is a nice girl. Jeffrey's poem about his mother made the class cry. Paul and Tommy joined the soccer team. So the subject comes before the verb. Predicate of a sentence. The predicate of a sentence includes the verb and everything that follows it. This typically tells what the subject does with an action verb or describes the subject using a linking verb and a complement. So Kelly walked down the street. So our subject is Kelly. We said that from above. And what did Kelly do? She walked down the street. So if you want to find out what the predicate is or the verb, you ask, what did the subject do? They went to school. What did they do? Went to school. That's the predicate. The black cat slept all day. What did the black cat do? It slept all day. All of these words make up the complete predicate of the sentence. So we have again, simple predicate, Harry cried, he did one thing. Complete predicate, the mouse slowly ran towards the food. And a compound predicate, she laughed at the dog's tricks and decided to adopt him. So she did more than one thing. Okay. Oops. Modifiers, phrases, and clauses add information about the subject and predicate and make the writing more interesting and clear. So we talked about adverbs and adjectives when we talked about the different parts of speech, and we said that adverbs and adjectives add information to the nouns, the pronouns, the adverbs, the adjectives. It makes it more interesting and clear, so you get a better picture in your head of what you're reading. So whether single words, so one word, phrases or clauses, modifiers should appear close to the word or words they modify, especially if the reader might mistake what is being modified. Here's an example of a misplaced modifier. So John could read the sign easily written in French. Okay, so easily is the modifier. Now, what was easy or easily? Is it the sign, the way the sign was written was easily, or the way the sign was read was easy? Which one? So the modifier is not really clear what's going on here. So in this example, it's unclear whether the adverb easily is meant to modify the way John reads the sign or how it is written. By moving the modifier closer to the word it is modifying, the meaning becomes clear. So John could easily read the sign. That's what we wanted to say. So easily needs to be close to the word it is modifying, which is read. Okay, so practice with subject and predicate. Underline the predicates and circle the subjects. So I'm going to take a nap. So the subjects are who or what the sentence is about, and the predicate is the verb plus everything else in the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to take a nap. Who's going to take a nap? I am. What am I going to do? I'm going to take a nap. That's the predicate. Okay, number 2, I got in trouble, so I can't go to the party. So who got in trouble? I did, and I can't go to the party. So what did I do? Got in trouble, can't go to the party. So this is a complete predicate. Number 3, being alone can be scary. So what is the sentence about? It's about being alone. What about being alone? Being alone is what? Can be scary. Number 4, Mr. Morton, the best reading teacher in the world, taught me sentence structure. Okay, so who is the sentence about? It's about Mr. Morton. And what is the predicate? What did Mr. Morton do? Taught me sentence structure. So this rest of the sentence here, the best reading teacher in the world, is just extra information. It's not the subject and it's not the predicate. So you have to look at the sentence carefully and ask yourself, again, like I said, who the sentence is about and what the subject did. So the subject is Mr. Morton, and what about Mr. Morton? He taught me sentence structure. Okay, number 5, Keith, Carrie, and Kyle bought donuts and ate them down by the river. So who did something in the sentence? Keith, Carrie, and Kyle. So we've got a compound subject this time. What did they do? They bought donuts and ate them down by the river. So a compound predicate. Number 6, I left early so that I could get some work done. So who is the sentence about? I. And what did I do? Left early so that I could get some work done. Number 7, crossing the street is dangerous if you don't look both ways before you cross. So who is the sentence? What is it? Who or what is the sentence about? Well, there's no person mentioned there. So the sentence is about crossing the street. So what about crossing the street? It's dangerous if you don't look both ways before you cross. So the predicate, like I said, is the rest of the sentence. Number 8, if you don't want to study, you should stay at home. So who is this sentence about? It's about you. And what about it? So if you don't want to study, you should stay at home. So the subject is you. Number 9, I spend all of my money on things that I don't need. So who does something? I do. And what do I do? Spend all of my money on things that I don't need. And number 10, Mom said that I can go to the museum with you, but I have to be home early. So who is the sentence about? It's about I, and what can I do? I can go to the museum with you, but I have to be home early. Okay, so Mom said that is not who the sentence is about. Sentence about what I can do. So we have to be careful. Sometimes subject, predicate not so bad, but subject can be tricky. Okay, some common sentence errors. So lots of times when we're writing sentences, we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes at some point. But there are some common sentence errors that people make fairly often. Excuse me. So one is having an incomplete sentence or what we call a sentence fragment. So each sentence in English must contain, as we talked about already, at least a subject and a verb. And it should be an independent clause, which means that it makes sense by itself. Examples of incomplete sentences without a subject or a verb might include an instruction or a prepositional phrase. For example, through the door, in the other room, over there. What do those things mean? So when you read that, through the door, well, what? Did something go through the door? In the other room. Well, is something in the other room? Do you want me to go in the other room? Or over there? What's over there? We don't know. So those are incomplete because they don't make sense by themselves. This mistake is often made on tests, asking a question with why. For example, because Tom is the boss. That's the answer to the question. Because Tom is the boss. Well, what about it? Because Tom is the boss, what? Did something happen? Since he left work early without permission. Again, what happened when he left work early without permission? We don't know. It's incomplete. So these sentences might answer the question, why did he lose his job? We don't know if that's what the answer is really because the question is not there. However, these are sentence fragments. The correct answer would be, he lost his job because Tom is the boss. Or, he lost his job since he left work early without permission. So, now we have complete sentences because we know why it's saying Tom is the boss. Because Tom is the boss. We also know why it's saying since he left work early without permission. We added something to the sentence that helped us understand, and we added part of the question. Other examples of incomplete sentences introduced by subordinating clauses include, even though he needs help, if they study enough, as they had invested in the company. Again, those things do not make any sense by themselves. They need more information. Even though he needs help, what? If they study enough, what? As they had invested in the company. Again, it doesn't make any sense by itself. You need to see the question. Okay, so that's one type of sentence error, an incomplete sentence. So then we also have run-on sentences. And run-on sentences are sentences that, number one, are not connected by appropriate linking language, such as conjunction, so something like and, but, or, something like that. And 2, use too many clauses rather than using periods and linking language such as conjunctive adverbs. So the first type, not connected by appropriate linking language, leaves out a word, and it's usually a conjunction that is required to connect a dependent and an independent clause. So for example, the students did well on the test, they didn't study very much. Okay, so that just kind of runs together, and you have to almost read it out loud to figure out what it's about. So the students did well on the test, comma, but they didn't study very much. Now it sounds better, it makes more sense. Anna needs a new car. She spent the weekend visiting car dealerships. Okay, Anna needs a new car, so she spent the weekend visiting car dealerships. So that little word conjunction, so or but, they're left out. We need them there. So we have to be careful of that. Another common run-on sentence occurs when using too many clauses. This often occurs using the word and. So you're just putting a lot of ideas down and just saying and. We went to the store and bought some fruit, and we went to the mall to get some clothes, and we had lunch at McDonald's, and we visited some friends. Okay? We don't need all those ands in there. We need to get rid of them. So we went to the store and bought some fruit, period. Then we went to the mall to get some clothes and had lunch at McDonald's, period. After that, we visited some friends. Okay, so that sounds better without all the ands, and. Okay, incorrect tense is another problem. Make sure that the tense used, so the tense means talking about the verb, is it past, present, or future? Are you talking about something that happened already? Are you talking about something that's happening now? Or are you talking about something that's going to happen later on? So make sure that the tense used corresponds to the situation. In other words, if you're speaking about something that happened in the past, do not use a tense that refers to the present. For example, they fly to visit their parents in Toronto last week. So last week tells me that it's already past. It's already done. So instead of they fly to visit their parents in Toronto, it should be they flew. Okay, Alex bought a new car and drives it to her home in Sioux Lookout. So we've got bought a new car and drives. So bought past tense, drives present tense. She did it already if she's driving it. So Alex bought a new car and instead of drives, drove it to her home in Sioux Lookout. So again, make sure that your tenses correspond to one another. Okay, and another sentence error is incorrect verb form. So certain verbs in English take the infinitive and others take the gerund. So the infinitive form is the verb with the word to. So to go, to find, to see, to have, to make, those things. A gerund form is a noun with an ing ending. So incorrect, he hopes finding a new job. So instead of using the gerund, the ing, it's the infinitive form. He hopes to find a new job. Peter avoided to invest in the project. So in this case, instead of using the infinitive form, you need the gerund form. Peter avoided investing in the project. Okay. Parallel verb form is if you're writing in the present continuous tense, use the ing form in your list. So it's incorrect to say she enjoys watching TV, play tennis, and cook. It should be she enjoys watching TV, playing tennis, and cooking. So all the verbs have the ing ending. Incorrect. I've lived in Italy, working in Germany, and study in New York. So I've lived in Italy, worked in Germany, and studied in New York. So past past, past. Subject-verb agreement. The most common of these mistakes is the missing S in the present simple tense. However, there are other types of mistakes. Always look for these mistakes in the helping verb. So Tom played guitar in a band. So it should be Tom plays. Plays with an S is the singular form of the verb to play. Another one incorrect. They was sleeping when she telephoned. They were sleeping. Okay, when she telephoned. So they is plural, which means the verb has to be plural as well. Okay, missing commas after linking language. So when using an introductory phrase as a linking language such as a conjunctive adverb or a sequencing word, use a comma after the phrase to continue the sentence. So incorrect. As a result, children should start studying math as early as possible. It should be as a result, comma. Children should start studying math as early as possible. So you have that little pause in there. So, some practice with combining sentences. So we combine sentences to make them flow more easily, to make them sound better. So she went to work. She did not want to go. It was a long drive. So look at your sentence. We got three very short, choppy sentences. We've got the pronoun she in the first sentence and in the second sentence. So she went to work. She did not want to go. So here what we can do is just get rid of one of the pronouns she, and we can say she went to work but did not want to go. I don't have to put in she because I know I'm talking about the same person. And then you can put it was a long drive, or you can get rid of the period and put in because it was a long drive. So now instead of she went to work, she did not want to go, it was a long drive, we've got a more complex sentence. She went to work, but she did not want to go because it was a long drive. It sounds better, it flows better. Number 2, the boy stole a car. He stole it from his neighbor. The boy is 15 years old. Okay, so the sentences are all about the boy, so let's combine them. The 15-year-old boy stole a car from his neighbor. Okay, so instead of 3 short, choppy sentences, boy stole a car, he stole it from his neighbor, the boy's 15 years old, I've combined them so it flows better. All right, so practice combining sentences. Makes your writing more interesting. Okay, so that brings us to key question 6. Label each of the following sentences as declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory. So write on the line what type of sentence it is. Then let's go back here. This one does not want to move for some reason. It's frozen. Okay, that's weird. Try it again. Oh, there we go. So part 2, write your own example of the different type of sentences. So you are writing those types of sentences. Number 3, underline the subject in each sentence. And number 4, underline the predicate in each sentence. And then key question 7, combine the following sentence so they flow more smoothly. So look at those sentences, the short, choppy sentences, and see how you can combine them using different punctuation or adding a coordinating conjunction to make them flow more smoothly. Okay, so that's it for our class today. If you have any questions, please contact me. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your week and good luck with the key questions. Miigwech.